Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Platinum Achievement Podcast, where each week we invite you to join a community of fun-loving gamers from around the world for the most action-packed podcast of all time. Welcome to the party! What's up, everybody? We are so excited to be joining you for another episode of the Platinum Achievement Podcast. We are a community of gamers spread all around the world. Today we have a very special guest coming to us live from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Not Albuquerque, wrong place.
Which place?
I'm from Roswell, New Mexico, the place of the aliens.
What? Oh, we have
great.
a Roswell
Wait,
native
that's
with
what
us.
the whole episode should be about.
That's
now.
amazing.
Have you
Yeah,
seen
new
it?
conversation. All right. Anyway, we have a community member here,
favorite kind of alien?
avid game collector. He's been listening to us from episode 2, so we're very excited to have him. He's going to be talking about his collection, and we're also going to pick his brain about all things gaming. And we are joined by Matt, who is in the blizzard right now. At the time you're recording this, you may be time you're listening to this, you may be shoveling yourself out still from this massive blizzard hitting the East Coast. So Matt is finally with us. Matt, say hello to the pod people.
Snow ain't gonna keep me down.
It's they let you know last night they were shutting your clinic down, right?
Yeah, we close it. We normally close at 8 during the week. They let us know at like 6 o'clock. They're like, yeah, we're closing tomorrow.
How many
And
inches
then-
you got going on over there?
I actually don't know. I live 4 floors up, and half of my windows are covered with snow. Now, I know that doesn't mean that, it snowed that much.
Armageddon.
No, I think there's
But-
been 48.
But
Or
it
no,
depends. Well, it
48
depends on which outlet of Fox News you're paying attention to, because they might think there's actually that much snow. I think. I mean, I know. Before I left work last night, we were projected to get, I think, 8 to 12. Based on the fact that it started snowing at 6:30 last night, and it is now 17 hours later. We're probably at 10 inches.
So, Matt, live from Philadelphia.
So you're past 6.6 inches.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yes, we've snowed more than, like, honestly, if you were to lay down naked in the snow here, your penis
Nice.
would be buried, Chris. It's basically the measurement.
So, Matt, live from Philadelphia. What are you drinking today, Matt?
I'm drinking the same thing I was last time I was on, Narragansett Autocrat. It's a coffee milk stout. Very good for morning drinking.
Coffee milk stout. That's adventurous.
You'd be surprised at how smooth it is, especially out of a can.
And live from New York, we have Brian. What's up, Brian?
It's me. I'm underground and being destroyed by snow as well. There's like, I don't know, I'm looking out my window. I think it's at least 15 inches now.
Whoa.
Which is like Chris would be suffocating if he laid down here and went underneath all the snow.
So in New York, it's pretty bad. You were shoveling and you were late to the recording, but that's okay because you were
kind of.
shoveling for your life. So
Yeah, I know. I would have died.
was everybody like stockpiling like food and water? Like
Oh, everyone's got to get the bread and milk.
Yep.
Everyone's
got
gotta
we got
get
the
the
blizzard
bread
over
and
here after New Year's.
It's great. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that video of this older comedian guy. He has like I think it's a Vine or something. Like, got to get the bread and milk. Have any of you guys seen that
no,
before?
have not.
I think it might only be known on Staten Island because the comedian's from Staten Island.
Oh, okay.
But he makes fun of the entire like island, the way we freak out when there's snow. And for some reason, there's some obsession that getting bread and milk will prepare you for every bit of the snowstorm. Like, you don't need to get salt or shovels or anything. Apparently, most of the people on the island think you just need bread and milk.
That's
and then
your
you keep
survival gear right there.
That's
bread and milk.
survival gear. That's all you need.
Well, it's just like for a long time from watching movies, people thought all you needed to deliver a baby was hot water.
Some hot water and some blankets.
I
That's all
love
we
blankets.
need. Let's go.
I mean, no one ever thought to bring a catcher's mitt to that. You got to catch the baby with something.
Speaking of babies, Chris is live from Beirut, Lebanon.
All
What's
right.
up, Chris? How's Lebanon's weather?
Oh, I cannot accept that. I cannot accept it.
I can. That was great. Good job, Antonio.
How many inches of snow do you get in Beirut?
You know what? I'm gonna make you work double because you called me baby. So
Oh, man.
Alrighty then.
How's the how's the weather over there, Chris?
the weather's fine. So You're gonna end this whole episode just bleeping my every word.
We're just gonna take Chris's track and bleep the whole thing. It's just gonna be a solid.
That's a tone.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be beep 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 beep. Oh, that's a good point, Chris. Good job. That's cool.
Now, Chris,
it's gonna sound like we're talking to a coin version of R2D2.
Yeah.
So,
right, then.
Chris, how are things over there for you? Really, no rain, no snow?
No, there was like rain yesterday, but doesn't snow in the cities because it's on the shore. But it snows in the village, so it never snows here, unless I go skiing.
Did you see the Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown when he goes to Lebanon? Did you see that by chance?
I didn't see. I love that show though. I watched so many of those. I'm up to season 3, and I've watched almost every.
Do you know what that is, Chris? Or
no?
Well, Anthony Bourdain's like a food critic or whatever. He's also a chef or whatever.
Journalist and
he's cool. I would say. Yeah. Well, anyway, he goes to countries and gets drunk there, and then like has CNN like a show that they just like show him.
It's on Netflix too.
So did he get mugged or something when he came to Lebanon?
No. I mean, he always seems to just find people that are chill with like getting stone-faced drunk and like passing out. Like
he finds the most interesting people, and he's like, "Oh, I have a buddy in every single country that exists." I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, you should. It's on Netflix then, so you should check it out.
So it's a lie then, because if you found every interesting people, I'm the most interesting people here.
I was kind of hoping that you'd show up in the background, that I'd see you like kind of like walking by or like something like that.
But I don't know, if I knew he was coming, I could have called somebody where he was partying. Yeah, and I would have like stalk him or something.
I thought it was interesting. The only reason I watched it because like I was flipping through and I was like, oh, Beirut, and it was like Lebanon. I'm like, whoa! I'm like, everybody looks like Chris, and then I just watched.
Everyone looks like Chris.
Wow!
Yeah.
Like, do you know that Indian comedian? What's his name again? He's very famous.
Aziz Ansari.
No, not Aziz. He's a stand-up comedian.
A different Indian comedian.
Russell Peters.
Aziz Ansari.
Russell
Who
Peters.
the hell is that? I'm the only one.
So funny, isn't it? This guy's hilarious.
Russell Peters came to Lebanon, and
I saw that one.
And you have the VIP tickets. You can talk in the back, and I was like, "Yo, we want to go to party and whatever." He's like, "Yeah, we go partying and have drinks, whatever." But I couldn't go with him because I had. Yeah,
Chris, missed opportunities, sir.
It's hilarious.
My friends went with him. I actually went after 4 hours later, but he wasn't there anymore.
That was a missed networking opportunity. He could have been on the show.
Because look, at the time I had the girlfriend and I ditched her 3 times because I had to play World of Warcraft.
Well, you ditched her 3 times. You can ditch her 4 at this point. I mean, she's not even your girlfriend anymore. She's gone.
Wow, that's hilarious. Oh,
that's sad.
All right, so Imran, you're joining us from Leicester.
I love it. You can't.
No,
say
I got it right. Leicester,
something.
UK.
You can't say it still.
And how's the UK doing, Imran?
Yeah, it's good. It's freezing now. We had a quite warm December, but it's cold now. Yes. Cold.
Weather is the topic of the day. So excited.
I'm just so excited that Gerald's from Roswell, so I'm just reading like things about Area 51. I just sort of there's a headline here: Women speak of their hybrid children who live on spaceships after super primal alien sex. So I'm just reading. So Gerald, I want the load on Area 51. You got to tell me what is going on there.
Speaking of Area 51, Gerald, seriously, how's the weather over there then right now?
It's nice now, but I think like the day after Christmas, we had a blizzard and the whole town shut down.
Wow, that's
like it's a town that almost never gets snow, and we magically get 2 feet of snow. Boom! There goes the entire town. You couldn't get out of your driveway, and people had to walk to Walmart. Gas stations, even Walmart that are 24/7 had to shut down because we weren't just prepared for it.
That's horrible. And how did the aliens hold up? Do they like the cold?
There's no. I don't know. I haven't asked any of the illegals yet.
Oh, I get it. Okay, cool.
That's the joke.
I get it. D minus. You're past though.
Ouch.
So let's jump right into it. We are here with a listener of the show, Gerald, and we are so excited for him to share with us some information about his game collecting. So that's his thing that he has going on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your game collection?
Well, there's not much to say other than I own 80 game systems. And I own a complete collection for one system from Japan. Then I got missing 9 games for a system that's it's from Japan. They released it in America, but I got all but 9 of the games from Japan for that system.
What's
And
the
so
one
I got-
Be
system
more
you have all the games
specific.
for?
Yeah,
Well,
what's
like
the name of the
system.
system that you have all the games for?
But
It's a really obscure
in
Japanese
Japanese if you
system
can.
called it's called the GamePod computer, but on the internet it might be known as Apache because that's the company that made it. So you might have to search like Apache GamePod computer. It
so
only
you
had
collect
5.
any console, like it doesn't matter what
I
it is.
used to, but I'm primarily PS3 now. But I can
Oh.
name you off every system, and I've got some obscured stuff from Japan.
For
Do you
that,
have that one weird system that's the PS1 and the Super Nintendo combined that no one else
No,
in the
these are
has?
official
The Playbox
systems. No
720.
combos, no aftermarket systems.
No, but they did find one of those, and I think they have opened
was
it up,
the-
and they're trying to get it running.
No. They got it to run. It was an
they
official
get it to
thing that
run?
was supposed to happen.
Yeah, it was a special thing that was
And,
supposed to happen, but Sony was making
no,
it. They
I
built
think
it at a
there's only like
convention.
20 in existence or something.
Yeah, like
Really?
Nintendo backed out of the deal.
Yeah,
to
but
do-
but the thing is, they backed out without ever telling Sony. They didn't give
So
Sony a single
Sony's
word.
like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it.
Sony
They're in
was
Japan.
making it. Sony was making it, and they were actually going to call it the PlayStation, but as 2 separate words.
Mhm.
Play and station as 2 separate words. So then Nintendo went behind their back, didn't even bother to confront Sony. They went to Philips, the same convention that Sony unveiled the next day. Nintendo went to Philips and announced theirs without even notifying Sony.
sounds like
Well,
a typical
but see,
move to me.
but then right after that, they brought out the Nintendo 64.
Really?
Yeah, because see what happened was is they were working on the deal with Philips, and they gave Philips the permission to use their Nintendo properties. Then Philips decides, oh, we're backing out. We're going to back out of doing just make our own standalone system, and it was too late.
And then that's where you get the 3DO Zelda, I think, right? Is that what that was?
The Philips CDI.
Or no, it
It's
was
me, princess.
yeah, where or was it TurboGrafx 16? I forget.
No, it was for the Philips CDI.
Oh, even worse. Okay, yeah, okay.
And they made 3 Zelda games. One's very hard to find. Then they made Hotel Mario.
Wow, that's interesting.
Well, Gerald, let's ask you a couple questions about the beginning. What made you decide to start game collecting, system collecting? Like, what made you start?
Well, I gamed my entire life, but I wasn't a heavy collector, and then and my parents made me a salesman stuff, but I never wanted to get rid of my systems my entire life. So eventually, I grew up, I got a job, and I decided this would be interesting. Then I wanted to get some of my old games, and then my interest just grew from there, and then I eventually started just doing the research, finding out about these Japanese systems. I'm like, this is really interesting. And then it got me into collecting systems at the start.
Interesting.
And I was mainly collecting the Japanese systems. Not a lot of I was collecting the more popular stuff in America and some of the more obscured stuff, not the highly popular stuff.
That's interesting. One of the things that my mind quickly goes to is, you gradually get into it, but then how did your commitment and your the investment money-wise and time-wise go? Because to me it's like, okay, I'm like, wow, if somebody's going to start collecting, they must have a boatload of money and they're shoving it in, to their collection and, growing it out. How does it work financially for you? How do you work it out?
Oh, collecting is not as expensive as everybody assumes. As long as you're buying games within your country, never, ever, ever use the internet. Never. The second you use the internet is the second you're paying way too much for everything, because you can go to yard sales, garage sales. And if you get good with the local businesses, you can, people, sometimes they'll cut you deals. Sometimes they'll hold products for you and give you a good deal. Or you just spread out to the community. Let people know, I collect video games. And then people will be like, well, I go to GameStop and get this price. Or here, some people are like, yeah, but GameStop won't take it. And I'm like, well, if they're not going to take it, what makes you think I'm going to take it? I could throw it away. Or you can just give it to me. Okay, here you go. Free game.
Wow, that's a
Like
pro
sports.
tip. That's awesome.
But-
I never
That
thought
is
about
cool,
that.
man.
But
Wow.
here's the thing, though. Most of the time, if you're going to get a free game, I would say a good 70 to 75%, it's going to be sports. Because sports are the worthless title in existence, practically.
Because
That's funny.
every year they update, right? So they don't
Yeah,
hold
you
back.
need,
They
the
released
most, you need the
every
latest
year.
one in order for it to make sense. Because I know the same thing. Because I have, like I mentioned before the show, I have every NHL game since like NHL '94, and I think every time I do get the new game, because I get it every year. The same thing with Madden and sometimes with FIFA. I don't always get them though, but I always see that if you try and return the old game, it'll be like $2 or something for if I tried to return NHL 15 right now, because there's literally no value to it right now because no one wants it.
But sports titles are everywhere. After the new year, nobody gives a crap. I mean, I've gotten like one time I had this one dude give me like $2,000 worth of video games free, tons of sports. They couldn't even sell their PS1 at the time, so I just ended up getting like 2 or 3 PS1s for free. And he ended up giving me a bunch of Xbox Ones for free. Some dude that I worked with and he just gave it to me.
Wow.
Now, when
Wait,
you say
Xbox Ones or
Xbox
Xbox?
The
One,
original Xbox.
okay,
Yes.
all right. I was
Yeah.
just
And he gave me
curious.
two
I'm like,
original
wow.
Xboxes, two or three PS2s. He gave me like 3 or 4 N64s, tons of controllers. He gave me like $60+ PS1 RPGs for I didn't pay him
I'm
nothing.
curious, how do you set it all up too? Do you have like one room where you have all the consoles connected, or do you have them in boxes? Like, what do you have going?
Unfortunately, currently it's all boxed up at my parents' house.
All right. Well, do
Okay.
you have like a console like center at all, like where you play video
Yes.
games regularly? What do you have on your console center? Like, what is it? Just your PS?
No, I pay at PS3 and PS4 because for financial purposes, I actually make money playing video games.
Okay.
Excuse me?
How do you do
Yeah,
that?
I play. See, this is a thing, and this is the stupidest thing ever. But this is literally how I fund it, and primarily why I'm only collecting for PlayStation now. People actually will pay you for achievements, trophies, and achievements.
Ooh.
All right,
They
yeah, of
will.
course. Yeah.
They
Someone
will.
let
You do.
Rough Dog know because he's got a new job now.
I know
He's quitting.
you
Whatever
realize-
he's doing now.
Let's put it this way: if you go to the leaderboards, a lot of the top trophy hunters are trophy sellers because I've come across them before. Like the top guy from Germany, he sells trophies. #1 guy in the legit leaderboards, trophy seller. Because there's no way, or they're game sharing. There's no way we can afford all these Japanese titles, especially brand new.
Yeah, of course.
How much
There's
are you
6
making on a trophy? Like, is there an average, or what's the highest you've made? For
See,
instance?
now it depends. Granted, I don't sell hack trophies, but people will pay you to hack their trophies because they can get thousands, they can get hundreds of trophies in a matter of a couple hours. And some people would rather just do that, despite the risk of getting banned offline.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it all depending on the orders, depending on the game. Granted, you do have to realize, is it enough to live on? If you're lucky enough, you could live off it, but that's really hard. It's more of spending cash.
Yeah.
So on an average, I would say $100 a week, just an
What?
average.
Are you
That's pretty
freaking
cool,
kidding
man.
me, man?
That's pretty.
Telling you
And
that
all
I
I'm
gotta
doing is a bunch
do
of Japanese
something else.
stuff.
I'm quitting my job, doing this instead.
No. Whatever you do not quit your job. You cannot live off of this.
We're all quitting our jobs for this
That's
now.
amazing.
You've already made us commit.
Brian's
I
on
won't commit.
board
There's
already.
too much competition.
We're
If too much
all
competition
leaving.
if too much competition happens, you're just gonna plummet the price to where it's next to worthless. I mean, once hacking trophies came down, I had to lower my prices by like 50 to 60+% because people were not gonna pay as much anymore now hacking was prevalent.
I don't want to
Okay.
destroy your little side business here, so you answer what you want to answer. But So you just contact people on the leaderboards, or they reach out to you because you're known
No,
now? Or
no,
what?
I don't contact no one on the leaderboards. Simply, I just put up an internet shop and people contact me via that.
A what?
Okay.
Internet shop. I just made my own website or found places where people care about trophies. I just post a shop, post my prices. They want to buy, they send me a message. If not, then end of story.
Wow.
Craigslist for
That's
trophies.
cool, man.
But before that, see, back because I move around a little bit in New Mexico, going to college and stuff. So my grandmother owns a business in Roswell. Not very exciting, but she owns her own business, and I worked for her for a number of years, living with my parents, and that's where I accumulated a lot of my systems. There's a local store in my town, and I'd go there and say, "Do you have this system? Oh, you have this system." That's where I picked up a lot of my systems. I've got, and I can name every system because I got my systems memorized in my mind. Games, yeah, that's really fluctuated.
Wow. So
Good.
How many games do you have total? How many games?
That I don't know 100%, honestly.
Give
But
us
I
like a
estimate
roundabout
about
number.
2,000. I can tell you how many PS3 games I have. I have between 800 to 900 PS3 games.
Are they all physical games?
Those are the physical games. That's not including downloads.
Do you have
Oh,
like
yeah.
a giant walk-in closet? Like I'm imagining something glamorous, where
Well, see-
it's just like
well,
a
see.
wall of games.
But you got to realize, people are like, you have thousands. No, because half those games are sports that I got for free. Nobody wants old sports. And then people that I've done trophies for, I've like, well, you want to? You're a nice guy. You collect games. Next thing I know, this dude sent me like $300 worth of stuff. He just mailed it right to my grandmother's store.
wow.
That's great. So,
But granted, it was sports galore.
Gerald, have you ever thought about sort of like displaying these in some sort of museum? There's a place in Leicester, which came across it recently, called the Retro Computer Museum, and they have about 60 consoles on display with games and stuff like through the years.
If I ever decide to display this in a museum, I'm probably gonna go display it in a Japanese museum
Yeah.
Wow.
because I'm probably
people
gonna
will
end up
pay.
moving there in the future.
Wow.
Because I went to this museum, right? It's £6.50 to get in. He's got like all consoles which I've had throughout my life, but people pay to see these old consoles. Like it's something that you could do.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, I don't have the expertise to run my own business like that. I'd have to just donate them to
Yeah.
somebody, and I
Yeah,
would
of course.
never donate my PS3 stuff until I get the one game that I want that I cannot get my hands on because it's too damn expensive.
What is it?
Okay, what game?
NBA Elite 11.
Wait, hold on. What's the name?
NBA Elite? Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
11.
that's
Yeah.
discontinued one.
Here's the thing.
that's what he wants.
It was discontinued, but they did manufacture and press the discs. And
Yeah,
discs,
it's like there are copies of that in the wild. Like they were on shelves when it got discontinued.
no, it never.
I'm sure
It
someone
actually
What is it
never
called?
hit. No, it never hit it never hit street date. So it actually never hit the store shelves. And here's the thing: for whatever reason, PS3 copies got out, and there's been rumors that I've read up on the internet where one Xbox copy got out. 360, but there's no actual proof. There's proof of the PS3s existing, but no proof of that 360 disc ever existing.
Your
Wow.
white whale. Wow.
Like, wait,
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Ask in the group though. I'm sure someone probably.
Wait, what is it called again?
NBA Elite 11. It was a canceled. Yeah, it was the 2011 basketball game made by EA. It was apparent.
Oh.
It was so bad they just
NBA Elite.
upright canceled it like a
11,
week or two before release.
It's on iOS. It says.
Chris, I want you to jump in here after this. I have a quick question. I know that you're doing this trophy thing and you're collecting a lot of Japanese systems. So, I don't do a lot of Japanese gaming. Like some of these systems are deep cuts, not really heard of. Do you play the games? And then if you have played the games, did you find any like gems where it's like, hey, this is like a really good game on some obscure system that, not a whole lot of people have played at least stateside?
Unfortunately, no. A lot of the good gems, there's communities out there that know about them. Like TurboGrafx was not very big in the States, but humongous in Japan. Had a lot of great games. Had a sequel. Had 5 games for the sequel system. Then you get some obscured crap. But most of it that's centric into Japan, most Westerners are just generally not going to like it, except unless that's your taste in gaming.
What's the style of games mostly? Like, what
Yeah.
is it JRPGs mostly, or is it like?
No, that's all dependent on the system. The system determines. For example, the system I actually have, and it's the dumbest thing ever. It's called It's called the Loopy, but made by a company Casayo, which if you're not familiar, Casayo does manufacture products in America. A lot famous with like making cash registers here in America they made a system called the Casayo Loopy. It's a system that was specifically targeted at female gamers. They singled them out totally. And when I mean singled them out, the games are all text adventures, cute animals.
This is like the Hello Kitty version of video game consoles.
I'm learning so much.
Taking pictures of animals, all texted, and then it had a way to
Pokemon Snap for girls.
It's like misogyny incarnate for video games.
No, not even. There's like almost no gameplay. It's just you get this weird little anime girl, this little cute animal, and like the 12 or 13 games for the system.
And how old is it? How old is this system?
I think it came out in the 90s. I don't remember off the top of my head. And it's like purplish pink. The box. I don't have the console box. I really wish I did. It had flowers, it had like hearts on it. It was white, and then it had an option to take physical pictures. What? And then they actually had it. And then it had a special attachment that would allow you to connect to a DVD player, and then you can print pictures out from still images from DVDs, movies, and stuff.
Chris, I think you found your console.
Yeah, Chris, you better get on
Good
this.
luck.
Man.
The system.
That's like a prototype of Pokemon Snap, I think.
No, because it's the game. There's not a picture element within the game. It's just a system feature.
Wow.
There's no picture element within the game. They're just Japanese text adventure games with little cute animals, lovey-dovey story. Like, they literally tried to stereotype what girls wanted. Like, literally, it's just poor.
Wait,
it was a complete misogynist approach to female.
I feel like it's so crazy because video games are so approachable for everyone, and it's surprising to me to see like a company even try and single out.
But you also got to look the mentality probably of Japanese and the mentality in the 90s where it was still primarily thought that guys were the only people that played games. Nowadays we know that's not true, but in the 90s it was still a thing.
So the system took a picture of the player, like a physical.
No. It had no camera. No, not of the player. The in-game still image or something like that. As far as I
like a screenshot. Okay, I thought it was like a selfie, like Japanese console
you're gonna
back
take
in the 90s.
No,
it's like this is groundbreaking. Oh my god, Chris, tell me what you think, Chris, because I want. What's your take? What kind of questions do you have for Gerald, Chris? Chris.
So sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I want you to.
I'm trying to listening to the show. You're on it. You can't not.
I'm trying to get your.
Unless you want me to list all my systems, I can start telling you.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to the list. Chris, you have any questions for Gerald? I want you to get in on this.
So, have you ever considered to Guinness Book or something like that?
Not even close. I thought about it one time, and I realized there's people that got larger collections than I do.
Because my friend, he actually went to the Guinness Book and he lost for like maybe 100 games. Yeah. For 100 games on PS3.
There's a guy. Well, there's a guy who worked at GameStop who got in the Guinness Book of World Records. He even has his video on the official Guinness Book of World Records for the amount of video games he had, more than I do. He was a former GameStop employee because if you work at a game store, primarily, especially a place like GameStop, you're going to get a lot of flack for the business practices you have, but sometimes people are just going to like, I don't want this crap, just take it. I've had friends who've gotten like hundreds of free stuff because people just don't want to deal with selling it, and they'll just say, just take it, I'm leaving. But we don't sell it, just take it.
Wow. So what, you got any other interesting stories? I'm pretty sure you know more what's kind of interesting than I would know, because everything you say is like I had no idea about half of this information.
Okay, I got another interesting story about a console in Japan.
Go.
Okay, you got to be familiar with, like, in America it was called the TurboGrafx 16. Japan, the PC Engine. They made a sequel called the Super Graphics. Kind of failed. So then they thought, we're gonna try our third success. And at the time they were competing against 64 and the PlayStation. And they called it the PCFX. System sold like crap because you got to realize how popular PS1 was when it came out. It was dominating everything. So this company is like, we can't sell. Oh, we're going to come with the brightest idea ever. we're going to be the only console ever to release pornographic games on it. But,
Chris,
Matt,
but
it's your
here's
system.
the
Wait a minute,
thing.
wait a minute. So they're doing pornographic games in like the mid '90s or something. It's going to be like pixelated. I can't even imagine.
We're
what
talking
it
about
is.
anime drawings of pictures. You know, like hentai in a
Now
nutshell.
it's Chris's console again.
Okay,
But-
But
hentai
they
mode.
censored.
Chris, get on it.
Well, wait,
Japanese
here's the
porn
thing.
that they censored the penis.
But here's the thing. See, on the
They
PC
give you
version,
tentacles and
they were
stuff.
censored, but they actually uncensored every single game on that system.
What?
Yes, they did.
Wow.
For whatever
This is
reason,
for
the
PC.
Japanese law actually states it has to be censored. That is the law. Simple. So, I don't know how they got around it, but every game on there is uncensored.
Ooh.
But a lot of them are the same games you can get on PC, just the PC version censored.
Wow.
And it's PCFX.
Wow.
And when you buy the thing, it looks like a huge PC tower.
Yeah, I just googled it, and yeah,
It has like a bunch of expansion ports, but as far as I know, they never utilized the expansion ports for anything.
It looks a little weird. It has
This is
got like
nuts.
a Sega Genesis controller type of deal going on too, in like
And
a
almost
giant
all
PC
the
tower.
almost all the games are like FMV games and stuff like that, or games like Dragon's Lair in a nutshell kind of thing. Most of those games are like that. They had one shooter on there, they had like one fighting game on there, and they're amazing games. But they're some of the most expensive games on the system too.
Wow.
And so wait, you mentioned there's pornographic games on it. I'm just thinking, how do you make a game based on that? What do you do? Like tap
It's
A
dating-
to
It's
like
basically
it doesn't make sense, you know?
It's basically like a dating simulator kind of thing.
They just put in the game.
It's one of those things. Like I said, it's really hard for a non-Japanese person to explain. I've had to sit and chat with my girlfriend forever about this weird stuff, and it's some of the stuff that she might be Japanese, but she don't understand half this crap because she doesn't game as much as I do. So I thought I'd give some perspective from a Japanese. Yeah, it didn't work very well.
So awesome. So you're collecting.
But you're so lucky to have a girlfriend in Japan because the only reason she can send you anime figures.
Jump! No. I used to get PSN cards from her, and then some dude found out and was like, "Can your girlfriend send me something?" I was like, "I'll talk to her about it." She sent this other collector something, and he pissed her off so much. She's like, "It's all your fault. I'm not sending you anymore." But no, I don't care. No, and ever since that, she just refused to send me anything.
Oh no, that's too bad. Because I'm a big figurine collector, and I love the exclusive Japanese figure where they sold in the stores, and they don't sell them online.
In New York that you told me go to the store and mail it to you or something.
Yeah.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinokuniya in New York. But in Japanese, they don't have like online stores. They ship it outside. So third company comes and buys the figurines, and they sell them, but they sell them to really expensive prices. That's why I never buy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am moving to Japan finally after all this time though. In later this year.
So
Congratulations, man.
That'll be awesome for you because of
Yeah, unfortunately though, I can't move to the same city my girlfriend lives in, but I'm moving close.
That's
I got a cheap deal through my I got a cheap deal through my university that I can go there for an incredibly cheap price. But I'll be studying and I'll get all my housing and stuff paid for by the university.
Look at that persona.
Yeah,
I know. I'm
Persona.
pretty sure that
Wow.
a lot of people in Japan too. They speak English too. So
Nope.
you know, you probably
No, they don't.
no one does.
Japan
No,
is one of the worst countries in the world for people speaking English.
Okay.
Like, let's put it this way. People are forced by the Japanese government. I'm not 100% positive. I might be 5th grade or in school or something like that. And they learn it till they graduate high school. They come out of it and they might be able to say hello in a little bit, but that's
All right.
it.
So it's the same process for our Spanish education in America.
Not exactly. It would be similar, except in America, we're not forced to learn Spanish. They are forced by the government to learn English, and they still can't speak it.
Well, I don't know about other
That's
states, but in
weird.
New York, they make us learn a second language all the way through high school.
Well, most like state-run curriculums expect a second language, but the difference is we get to choose. Like when
Yeah,
I had to learn like I could have chosen between Spanish, French, Italian, German.
Yeah.
And then once I got to high school, Japanese was available, but I was already 2 years deep in Spanish.
For me, it was only Spanish, Italian, and I think there might have been a French class when I was in middle school. But once I went to high school, it was just Spanish and Italian.
But you also gotta look at Japan. Every country, I mean, Japan has one of the lowest percentages in the entire world for foreigners. Period. Yep. And they just don't. If they're never going to use it, they're never going to remember it. You use it or lose it, and
what do you think the reason is for that? Is it just the culture clash so much that it's difficult, or I can't even?
They don't use it. It's because there's nobody to use it. They have no point to use it.
Well, I'm just thinking, why don't more people? Because I feel like Japan is such a huge. I'm thinking of Tokyo, really, but Japan has such a great economy and like a ton of people there, and I'm surprised more people don't. I'm surprised they don't have more foreign people living there. And
the problem is a large percentage of the foreigners are Chinese or Korean.
Yeah.
So unless if you go by like the American military bases, you might find more English. And I mean, in some of the larger cities or some of the colleges, you might find some people that can speak English. But if you get out in the cities and stuff, it's because they're just never using it. And most foreigners either adapt to it or they just or they get help or something. Mm-hmm. Because it's just if they're barely gonna speak it, they have no reason to even know it or use it. So some people forget it after school. Some people retain a little bit. Just depends. Like my girlfriend, as an example. When I met her, she was still trying to learn English. Now she speaks it well, and I can't speak it. I still Japanese.
In Lebanon, you have to you learn languages. It's not like you choose. You have to French, Arabic, English from middle school till end to high school.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what we were talking about a couple episodes ago. Yeah. Where Antonio was saying, well, his familial generation just did not speak Spanish to each other, so they couldn't really practice. That sounds very similar to what Gerald is saying about Japanese learning English. They just don't use it. So
even if they use it, they use a horribly, horribly broken English.
Well, maybe, and because I try and think, so many European countries they know about, they have English as their second language, and most of them are extremely good at speaking it. I'm just amazed when, like, we had Jurgen on the show, and he speaks almost perfect English. It's incredible. But I'm thinking, because maybe Japan, they don't have like the same intake of media that American media. Like they're not watching Friends,
because their language is not based. It's not similar.
Yeah.
No. American media is huge in Japan. They just don't, but it's always subtitled or they do dubbed over voiceovers. Like I said, they don't use it in their daily life. That's why they primarily don't know it. But the difference in like European languages too, for an example, or like if you go to Mexico, South America, you'll find a lot more people who can speak English better. Part of that has to do with just how different Japanese is from English. It's not as... One of the reasons is Japanese have to add extra sounds to their vocabulary that they've never spoken their entire life. Extra sounds that don't exist. Like the L and R. A lot of Japanese cannot distinguish between an L and an R. X doesn't exist. The letter for X doesn't exist. The letter F doesn't exist. So they have to learn how to accommodate the letter F and stuff too.
Well,
and
the TH sound doesn't really exist.
TH, V, yeah.
Wow, that is some big differences there.
Yeah, it's like when I hear Americans trying to speak Arabic, they have a lot of trouble saying and they have a lot of trouble saying
You just threw up a little in your mouth, Chris. What was that?
Yeah. Like that's a letter Ain, and there's a letter You know, you guys have trouble saying those letters.
Bless
Try
you.
to
Yes.
understand.
Like
It's a lot of
Stitch
phlegm
and
we don't
Stitch
have.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm not phlegmy. I'm kind of.
And then you also got to look at the structure of the language. Like in English, you gotta be real, kind of Pacific and stuff. Japanese, vague. Like when me trying to learn Japanese, sometimes it's like, where's the subject? Sometimes they'll just omit the subject. Sometimes you'll be reading a fluent paragraph, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, and they're like, the subject changed. What? The subject didn't change. Sometimes they just don't they won't state it. It's like it's obvious apparently.
Wow.
For example, let's say, and for someone is only speaks Arabic and he tries to say English words. Let's say potato. There's no letter for P. There's B, so they say potato.
Potato, yeah.
Potato.
This
Yeah.
turned into a linguists lesson.
Gerald, why
on
don't
the
you go
Black
down
Machine
that system
podcast.
list, the 80 systems, as much as you can?
Okay. Okay. I'll start off with original Nintendo and the Japanese Famicom and Disk System. Then I have a Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube, Wii, Wii U, Game Boy Pocket, the original Game Boy, then the Game Boy Pocket, then the Game Boy Color, then the Game Boy Advance, then the Game Boy Advance SP, then the DS, the 3DS, the Virtual Boy, Game & Watch, Nintendo Color TV, 16, I think.
Nintendo Color TV. What is
Wow.
that?
That's
The
deep
Color
cut.
TV 16, before Nintendo made the original Nintendo, Nintendo Japan experimented with like Pong clones. Because back in like the 70s or something, they did Pong clones.
Mhm.
And they just made a Pong. They made like 4 or 5 Pong clones. That was about it. The Color TV 8, Color TV 16, something like that. They made like 4 or 5, and I bought one of those.
Wow.
And then I got the Virtual Boy. Let me see what other systems do I have?
Do you have a Magnavox Odyssey?
Sadly,
No,
I have a Magnavox
you need
Odyssey
that.
too. I don't have the original Magnavox Odyssey, but I have a Magnavox Odyssey too. But then I have
Fox Odyssey too.
okay. Then I have Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega 32X, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. Then I have PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PSP, PS Vita. I have the original Xbox, Xbox 360. Then I have Atari Lynx and Atari Jaguar.
Wow.
Then I have Magnavox Odyssey. Then I have a Coleco Gemini.
Whoa.
Then I have hold on. I know I got one other older system. Then some obscure handhelds that I got. I got a Wonder Swan.
What?
Oh wow! I had a friend who had one of those.
Okay,
What
if
in
you're
the world
not
is
familiar
that?
with the Wonder Swan was made by the person who made the Game Boy. See, what happened is the same person who made the Game Boy made the Virtual Boy, but due to the Virtual Boy's failure, he felt really bad. It's probably some Japanese thing that I don't understand. He quit Nintendo and he went and worked for Bandai, and Bandai published their own system
Wow.
called the Wonder Swan, and it had a lot of, but most of the games are primarily made by Bandai, so it's a lot of anime, fighting game, shooters, and stuff like that. But Square Enix did actually support the system with Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, and I don't know of any other third-party company that did it.
Yeah, like the Wonder Swan is for like Bandai the way Neo Geo is for SNK.
Yeah, but then I also have a Neo Geo AES, then I have a Neo Geo CD, then I have the second model of the Neo Geo CD, then I have the Neo Geo CD-Z, then I have the Neo Geo Pocket Color. I think I got the Pocket Color, if I remember correctly.
Can I ask you a question? Do you
Yeah.
have a game called Windjammers?
For what, Neo Geo?
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, most of the games I got were a bunch of the fighting games for the AES. Unless Windjammers came out on the CD, because the Neo Geo CD, I have all but 9 of the games released for it in Japanese.
Okay. Well,
Why do you know this game, Matt?
Wait, isn't
Because I used
Windjammers
to-
like a
I used to-
volleyball something?
yeah, it's like a
volleyball?
weird it's like
Yeah.
it's like weird volleyball. It's like honestly, it's a 2-on-2 competitive sports game, we'll call it. But
I
it's
just
like
looked it up.
it's
It
like
looks-
volleyball. It's like volleyball meets like air hockey in a way, but
It's like
just throwing-
iDarb.
Yeah.
No, except good. But
Oh, come on, iDarb is
iDarb
good.
is fun. All right.
I've never
Okay,
played
keep
it. I really
going.
shouldn't say it. But
Okay.
anyway, Windjammers, I used to play in the arcades, and it is probably one of the most fun games I've ever played.
Yeah. So
I
now,
played Windjammers when I had a PC CD that had all of the emulators on. It's like, what is this game? And I used to remember when I used to play as a kid.
Yeah. So anyway, back to my systems.
Continue
First,
your
I
list.
have
Okay.
the TurboGrafx 16. Then I have a Super Effects, which Super Effects tried to kind of be a successor to the PC Engine. Released 5 or 6 games for it. That was it, and it was backwards compatible with the with TurboGrafx games. Then PCFX. Then now to get on some of my more obscured handheld stuff that I have the what do you want to call it? Oh, it's called the Game.com, but a lot of times because of the way the font was stylized, Game.com is what it's referred to, made by Tiger Electronics. Piece of crap. 20 games for it.
You sounded passionately angry about that one.
Oh, and then I got then they decided we're going to make a second system, and they decided, oh, this is what Nintendo's doing. You know, we can profit off the Virtual Boy. Let's make a copy of it, and they called it the R Zone.
I've heard of R Zone.
Thing sucks too. Then I have a new one.
What's that?
Okay, new one. I don't know if it was
Wait,
made-
New One is the name of it?
Yeah.
I thought you said I have a new one. I'm like, oh, there's a new one?
Yeah, I
okay.
thought-
No, a new one.
Wow.
It's spelled N-O-U-N. Now, Nuon was advertised
Wait, is it
as
noun?
DV No, that's how it's spelled. Nuon. It's the name of the system.
N-O-U-N, though. Noun.
Yeah, noun. It's a noun.
It's
Yes.
noun.
No, it's pronounced
I
Nuon.
want to get the verb.
Or is it N? Is it N? Or is it
N-U-O-N, that's what it'd be.
yeah, something like that? Nuon, basically. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
I don't-
okay. That makes
I don't
sense.
know if the creators.
Kinda.
I don't know if the people at Atari made it or whatnot, but it was advertised as DVD enhancing technology. So there's three or four DVDs that will actually say Nuon enhanced features, which I don't know what they are. And then, but then it had like 5 or 6 games for it. And what the thing is, it looks like a DVD player because that's kind of what it is. It had like 5 or 6 games. One game was exclusive to a South Korean DVD, a Nuon player. Past it, it's not that bad, but it just had like no support for the 5 or 6 games it had, and they're really expensive. So I have that. I know I got a lot more systems in there. Like I said, I got a bunch.
Out of all the
Yeah, I
systems
can
that you
imagine,
have,
like, some of the
which
things you have.
obscure one do you like the most? Like, which one do you think could have been great if... I think Antonio actually asked this before, but are there any ones-
PCFX could have been
like-
great. What else? Oh, my. Oh, here's another system. The Bandai Palladium.
Bandai Palladium.
What was distinct about PCFX though, too? Like, I don't even know anything about
The
it. Is it
graphics,
just
the
powerful?
the
Like, how
graphics,
powerful?
the CDs, the company behind it. Because you're talking about the company behind games like Bomberman.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Fortunately, though, they
Bandai is
just couldn't get anyone to buy the system. That's how much the PS1 was dominating in Japan. They literally could not get anyone to buy the system till they offered pornographic games on it. Then the system's granted.
Like, we're struggling, guys. This is what's going to happen to Nintendo. They're going to start struggling a little bit, and they're going to make some creepy Mario porn, and that will be what saves them.
So in
This
this
is-
one instance, Sex didn't sell, and they ended
So
up
this,
going
well,
Well,
under.
they called it quits basically after the PCFX, but they tried, and it was a really interesting system. And like I said, there are some very awesome games that are exclusive to that system, but we're talking about like the only fighting game that was on, the only shoot 'em up game that was ever on the system. Those are amazingly awesome games.
So
This Palladium's got Dragon Ball Z games on it as well.
Here's the thing: the Palladium is not what you're thinking at all. It's equivalent to like the Leapster or something. It's an educational system, like the Leapster here in
What is
America.
this?
It's an educational based system.
That's awesome.
At least in
Okay, all
Japan.
right.
Well, I mean,
going back a couple episodes, I'm kind of thinking an educational-based system in Japan would probably have Parappa the Rapper on it somewhere.
Nope.
Oh my
Parappa.
God! You know, I bet there would be some
And
really
then-
good Japanese games for strange plots.
No, and then I also and then I have a Philips
Oh, that's
CDI.
good. That's good. Right.
I have a Philips
CDI,
CDI and then I have a 3DO as well.
Hmm.
I
So
know I
do all
got
these work? Do they all work? All your
Everything works. Even my
Whoa.
broken 360 that I had to send to Microsoft, two of them. But none of those. But I've had some of those systems my whole life. Nothing's broken on me but a damn 360.
That's some
That's
bad.
why
Antonio.
That's why I refused to buy the Xbox One. That's why I
Yeah.
quit playing on Xbox and moved to PlayStation.
yeah, power to the people.
So
It had its problems.
Red Ring of Death, both my systems.
I had a Red Ring, yeah. I had a
I mean,
Symphony.
I had a
I'd put it
PS3 die on me.
Yeah. I know. I got
PS3
a
had
lot.
the yellow light of death, right? And wasn't that?
Yeah.
it?
They had
Yeah,
the yellow
the
light.
yellow
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Gerald-
know it's more systems that I got.
What
But
we'll try to do is, if as much footage as we can get, as many pictures as we can get, and the full list. If you type one up, we can put one on
I'll
the.
put like as many different pictures
Yeah.
as we can.
yeah, we want
of
to do
the
that in the
consoles and
YouTube
stuff.
version of the
That'd be
show.
great.
well,
the-
I sent you guys a bunch of just
Yeah.
pictures that I took when I was boxing stuff up when I was getting ready to move.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah,
we'll
cool.
do that.
Cool.
We want people to see some of this stuff, and
Yeah, it's pretty
it'll
amazing.
it'll be really nice to do that. And we can also make sure you're part of the Facebook group. Just search the Platinum Achievement Podcast on Facebook. We'll make sure you're in on there, and we can post some stuff there as well. And this has
Yeah.
been like all really
I like it.
interesting. I wanted to. You see, what I take away from this is that there was a market, and then many companies tried their hand, and a lot of them failed. Nowadays, you have a console war between. Usually, it's considered just the big three
Nope.
on home console, and then.
No, they still make really obscure shit to this day.
So who's doing obscure stuff like most recently? Who tried to compete against?
Well, first off,
Xbox
you had
and
I don't
PlayStation?
have it, but I want one. The Xavi port.
What's that?
Basically,
This is a newer
before the
system?
Wii came, like a year before the Wii came out, and this company decided to try and market motion controls before Nintendo released the Wii.
Whoa.
And the funny part about that system is Jackie Chan supports it.
So he's like marketing
Jackie
it,
Chan,
or
like
what?
it's like Jackie Chan aerobics or something like that. But
Dude, I will so get a system if Mr. Rumble in the Bronx is behind it. Hell yes.
I would play that.
Basically, it was another cartridge system in the time of the CD systems, of course, and each game has its own individual controls. Like the boxing game has boxing gloves, and that's how you play it. But I don't own one. Then they had then they had this other one, and I am trying to remember what it was, but it was released like in 2007, and they had Marvel games on it, and because this person decided, let's take the concept of collectible card games like Magic the Gathering, but centered around an entire video game system.
Yeah.
Terrible idea.
I actually just looked up this the system as Zavi port, and it really is kind of funny. The one screenshot they have here, it looks like it was taken directly from Wii Sports. But it had a good price point. It was only $80, so
You can get the whole collection for. If I wanted to, I can get the whole entire collection for like $80 on eBay.
So you're telling me that this still goes on to this day, that the actual console war is littered with people just trying to step in there with these odd ideas and these.
Well, there's some like in your
It's
face.
It's not. I mean, it's not nearly as bad. Like, for example, the new one was a good classic example. That came out after the Atari Lynx, the Atari Jaguar, after the PS2, probably like 98, early 2001. You got people that are still trying to target the handheld market. Because you got that European company. What was it called? The Gizmondo.
Oh,
Horrible-
Gizmondo. Yeah, I played with that. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But here's the thing:
It's a good
it was
idea,
launched in
but-
America for like a month, and then it went off the market. The American version of that thing is next to impossible to find. Next to
Yeah, you know
impossible.
that thing, the Gizmondo. It kind of like it had a good concept, but they couldn't just hit the market for some reason. It was like a lot of like territory, and it was like GTA like live. It was really cool. but they just couldn't hit the market. But
Yeah,
there's loads of consoles like the Ouya that's come out, the Nvidia Shield.
Yeah, there's been a lot of micro
Like,
consoles actually.
yeah, they come
too.
out as well,
Nvidia
still.
made a micro console.
Yeah, Nvidia
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
you're
making one after the purchase of Ouya now. They plan on
Yeah,
making
so-
another console,
Now,
micro
I
console.
want
They
to.
get released like, in our face, we still don't really realize.
What's your opinion on this then? So it is happening, and someone like me who's not like too aware, not paying enough attention, is missing it. But is this a good thing? Like, is there any possibility that someone's gonna come up and have a quote unquote success, or are they just? Why are they trying? I mean, what is the?
Is it
is
just
it
to find
futile?
a niche
Is it
market?
futile
I
to
don't
try?
understand.
What?
See, I don't understand why. And and here's the other system. I just looked it up. The Hyperscan. That's the collectible card game thing where they try to put collectible card games with games together.
Mm-hmm.
And it had 3 or 4. It only had 5 games for it. Spider-Man, like 2 or 3 Marvel games, and one off the wall game.
Hmm.
Which I don't know what it was off the hand. I couldn't tell you offhand, but it was just a Marvel game. That's all.
Is this just a good or bad thing? Like, are they making these things just so Gerald can collect them later, or do they think they're actually gonna make
A lot of them
break
try
into
to.
the market? Like, why are they doing this? I don't get it.
Well,
See, I
I'm
don't
sure
get
they've
it
got a
either.
vision that they're gonna sell, but then obviously it's really hard to hit to that.
Now
compete with the big
I
boys.
do understand the mentality of some companies like Tiger Electronics. They actually thought it was a good idea because Tiger Electronics was trying to copy what Nintendo did, and thus why the R Zone came out. Because
if you want to compete with the 3 big companies like Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox, and nowadays, you need to have a lot of money to do that because
Yeah, you need
to
a
have
huge
high-end,
investment.
you need a huge investment. Like you need to have a good graphics card, RAMs, memory, all of that.
Well, here's the thing.
Unless they are releasing, there's a lot of bootlegs that they release nowadays for
Yeah, I've seen them too.
fake PS3, fake PSP. I've seen a lot of those. I think the target for those are for like poor people who cannot afford the $200
I actually
console.
posted on
No.
Pixelpine a couple months ago. There was this system that it ripped off every single console. It was
I think I saw
amazing.
the article.
It ripped off the design of the PS4, the console design of the PS4, the
The
UI
color
of the Xbox One, the
And the
controller of
controller.
the Xbox One.
Nice.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of that stuff's coming from China, but there's a good reason. Because I've taken classes to understand. Because I like the video game industry. I want to know why are all this pirated products coming from China all the time. And a lot of it, once I learned about it, it made perfect sense. Up until 1993 maybe, or 6, somewhere in the 90s. China themselves never officially had their own copyright laws. They only had to abide by the international copyright laws stated by the UN. Other than that, they never had it.
But Chinese people are more PC gamers anyways.
But then, once they enabled it, the government still didn't they really didn't enforce it, and they still don't force it to this day. So, and piracy's rampant. Like, the day a movie comes out in theaters, it's like, give it a next day or 2 days later, it's on DVD all over the freaking place. Like you can have, like, for example, the newest Disney movie comes out on DVD. Next day, you can find it with like 7 other Disney movies all on one DVD.
This is interesting.
Yeah, but those are mainly cam quality pictures.
They may be cam quality, but the Chinese don't care, or the Chinese uploading, or the Chinese version of YouTube, because YouTube's illegal in China, just like Facebook and everything else is illegal over there. Yeah. The movie comes out in theaters. Next day, if you're able to access it, you can find it. You can find it right there on the Chinese YouTube. The government don't do a lot for it.
So we're never gonna see a world someone who unseats Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft completely in the home console space.
I think it could happen.
Fortunately, if Nintendo doesn't fix their ways, I do think they're gonna go under. Because as much as I love Nintendo and it's my favorite video game company of all time, because I would prefer to play their games over anything else, I cannot bring myself to ever support them if they just do not fix their stuff. No matter how much I love
I will
Zelda.
completely 100% disagree with you in the fact that Nintendo could go under, because they are not going to go under until their copyright on or their trademarks on Mario and Mega Man and
Say Mario
every
again.
single character.
Pokemon.
I hate Chris. It's Mario, the guy at the deli.
Mario.
Talk to him. He gives you the sandwich and you leave. That's
That's
how it
Mario.
works.
It's Mario.
but the thing is, they're
They
gonna
don't
have
even
to
need
do
the systems.
something.
You can throw them out the window. I don't care. They could sell the games forever.
Are they sitting on a stock?
The guy is the
They
most
can-
iconic thing in the one of the most iconic things in the world.
Pokemon is the number one selling franchise in the world now. It overtook Mario finally.
Nintendo can never go under,
Yeah.
and like they can go under in the hardware, but they can never ever go under in software because
100% exactly.
they have the biggest IP in the planet. There is you can go to Africa, a kid dying on the street who wants bread to live on. You can ask
He'll
him,
know who
do you
Mario
know
is."
Mario? He will say Yahoo!
Whoa!
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
you
mean,
would say
everybody
Yahoo dying in the street.
Yeah, I get the point though, but
Whatever.
Damn.
Woohoo.
still,
I could see them
could
going
still
under
see
with
something
the hardware.
happening because
I
the
can see that.
Wii was just a fluke. The GameCube didn't sell very well. The Wii U sold like crap. And if the next system doesn't, what are they going to do? They're going to keep trying to target the market that for whatever reason.
I think
Gerald,
Nintendo is kind of content with their
Gerald,
current
I actually
they'll
think
dump the hardware.
I actually think that sort of point of view sort of approaches Nintendo the wrong way because everyone thinks when Nintendo brings out a system, they want to conquer the world. I don't think they care about that anymore.
Yeah,
they're happy with
they
their
just
current-
want to be number 2. They want to be your
Three.
second choice.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the problem.
Yeah, they want to be a second choice. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
and with their IP, they pretty much are because, frankly, you can play 80% of the games that come out nowadays. You can play on PS4 and Xbox One. So you only really need to buy one of those, and then you have to have one where you can play Mario Maker or Splatoon,
Or like
or
chill, and
your
like when you're
own-
having a
your-
party, you can like
or
chill
your
out.
virtual console games because let's face it, Nintendo IP is home to some of the greatest games in the history of the medium.
Yes.
They
I
do
agree.
software.
Started
The
the medium almost.
Nintendo seal of quality still largely exists. Like as
Well,
far
let's put it
as
this way. I 100% agree, but as much as I love Nintendo, I refuse to download games on their service because of some of their stupid practice. And there's a lot of other things that they could drastically improve. If they're not going to, I don't care how much I love their franchise. I will no longer ever support Nintendo if they're not gonna wise up and get rid of motion controls and gimmicks. Go back to a standard controller. They gotta fix their online service. Give me an account interface like PS3 or something.
voice chat.
But we use kind
Voice
of
chat.
forward,
But the reason they don't want to do voice chat is because of their family-friendly environment, and they understand what's going to happen if they enable that thing.
Yeah,
that's true.
you get Chris's on there saying God knows
They
what.
they need to give a centralized profile system, and I understand Nintendo's against the achievement system. It is a big selling point for games. Trust me, it's my business. I know how much people would rather pay for the game just to get the achievements.
Gerald, let me ask you a
doesn't-
question. I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, but we have a bet going on about the Nintendo NX, and I believe it's going to be released according to the rumors this year, whereas Matt has bet me that it's going to be 2017.
No, I did not.
I
I
agree,
did not pick a
2016.
year. I said it's
Well,
not.
well,
gonna
here's
be
the
this
thing.
year.
Okay, fine, but
I will
are
say
you
this.
saying that it's going to be 18? What are you trying to say?
I do
No, I'm
believe.
saying
Yeah,
it's not
we're
going to
gonna
be
wait
this year.
another
That's all I'm
two.
saying.
I
Okay.
do believe the NX is going to be released, but if recent rumors that just popped up sometime like last week are true, it's not going to be. It's actually not going to be their next console. Instead, it's going to be the successor to the 3DS.
It kills you both.
Yes.
There you go.
That
So-
would make a lot more
Well, I
sense.
see,
than
well, no,
another console.
Antonio and I was called you Nintendo. Antonio and I had we actually sort of
Antonio.
Antonio posted that in in the Facebook group, and he said, "So what does this mean for our bet, man?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
We were assuming it was a
so
console,
strange.
and recent rumors
Yeah.
suggest that it's going to be some type of hybrid, so a two-part.
And they're going to release half
or it's
this
going to
year,
just be the
half
next
next year.
handheld.
Yeah,
Or is it
so-
episodic? Is the console episodic now?
From what I've seen before, too,
So
they
that's
apparently
thinking
want to do
outside the
something
box.
But in the long
where they
run,
can take local
I
hardware.
think their handheld division is going to survive, but their console division, I just don't know, because I hate to say it, as much as I do hate sports titles, as much as I can see games on every system, they still benefit the overall system, because if people can't get their sports titles, it doesn't matter how much they love Mario, it don't matter how much they love Zelda, and it doesn't matter how recognizable Mario is. He alone cannot sell systems to the overall masses, because people.
That goes with what we said before, because we were saying it's like they're the second system. So you're going to get your FIFA, your Madden, your
But some
NBA,
people,
whatever.
but
Call
here's
of
the
Duty
deal.
on
Some
Xbox or
people
PS4,
don't-
and then your second choice could be the other
But
console.
not
That's the ideal
everybody-
setup.
But no, not everybody wants to own multiple systems. Some people only want to own one system only. And you got to look at it. Outside Japan, I just don't know how well things going to do, because no matter how hard Microsoft tries,
it's not doing well
They've
inside
proven-
Japan. No one's
they
buying
will
consoles.
never, it's been proven fact, Japanese will never, ever buy the Microsoft product. They can try up and down. Xbox One
even
still
with
even
the
worse.
PS4 there, even with the PS4, no consoles are selling well in Japan.
Yeah,
Japan is a different culture where mobile
the
gaming is
benchmark.
the primary.
Yeah,
Mode.
No,
it makes
those-
sense. Yeah, it makes sense that Nintendo
The
is
thing-
going to be anchoring everything on their mobile. Everything in the rumors keep suggesting that you're going to be able to do something where their mobile games are going to be part of the next console or whatever the next step is. So you saying I don't think it would be a successor to the 3DS, only because the 3DS has already a solid backing. They barely came out with a new 3DS that they wanted people to buy for Xenoblade. And then they said, oh yeah, you're going to need it for the following games to be a little bit more powerful. And that was the only game. So my argument against Nintendo and why they have problems in the console space is that they keep wanting people to invest, and they're not investing in the system. So they may want me to buy them as my second console, but I got burned too many times. I got the Wii. I bought the Wii, saw that there weren't so many games on it. You know, I was playing Smash on there and like Mario Galaxy, and that was it. Sold it, and then I got the itch again, and then I bought it back, and there was still no games. I'm like, okay, stuff will come, things will come, and it's just not enough software. So if I'm going to get a bang for the buck, then yeah, sure, I'll buy your console. And if you're not going to switch the game on me all the time, where guess what? I can't play Xenoblade on my 3DS. That makes me upset, so I'm not going to invest again in your same, console. Same thing like people who have been waiting for Zelda, and I mean, I'm assuming it's still coming, but it's going to be showing up on the NX, and it hasn't debuted yet on the Wii U. So it's like there's too many like Nintendo's pulling the rug out from their loyal fan base and saying, buy this new thing. Oh, we're not going to support it so much. I know you're waiting.
Yeah,
buy this new thing. Oh, and like if Nintendo isn't worried about specs, like Matt keeps saying, they don't need to be 1080p. Then
no, I'm saying they don't need to conquer the world. I'm not saying they don't need to keep up.
Well, we also said that Mario doesn't need to run in like 1080p for it to be still beautiful. So
right,
if they would have had one console in the last, call it 12 years, then everybody would have been owning it. Because man, they keep coming out with great games, and yeah, it's not the best specs, and it's not competing.
But it's not about the
other
specs.
consoles.
It's just people want a variety of games. It can't sell with Mario and Pokemon. Like for example, Pokemon might be one of the highest sellers, but if it wasn't for the massive support the 3DS had, I really don't think it would have sold. Price does have a little bit to do with it, but so does support. More people rather have a PS4. There's a lot of, at least here in America, there's a lot more Americans who'd rather own an Xbox, because some people see Nintendo kitty system. I like Mario, but some people are like, I'm embarrassed to play Mario. Despite that,
and those are
they
weird
like the
people.
game.
Well, yeah, but
No, some people. There's
Like,
some
geez,
people that are-
man, he's the most iconic guy ever. How could you
that
be
point of view is also like, whenever I tell I'm 36, whenever I tell a friend who's in my age range that I'm going to see a Pixar movie in the theater, they're like, that's for kids.
Yeah, but
that's
not
that's the
everybody.
same thing. But like I
I
think
don't even
all
think it's
of
like
us here.
that. I think Mario's just great in general, all the
But
time.
see,
But
Every day.
if Mario,
But Spags, that's a different thing. People look at like honestly, I think that's sort of the big deterrent for people against indie games because they're not photorealistic. They're not gritty. They're just trying
but
to.
see,
I
They're
think
just
about
trying
the
to
people
have
that I
mechanics.
talk
that's
with,
part of
and,
the
most
marketing.
of my
At least
most
here
of
in
my
America.
friends are completely like if I tell them let's play Mario Party, I think 100 out of 100 of them will say let's play Mario Party.
Well, that's because you're
you know?
savages. Mario Party sucks.
Well, look, you got to
And
look
maybe
at
that's
it
just
this
because
way.
I'm younger and there's more lax attitudes toward it.
No, it's not just that. It's another point that again, it doesn't matter how much people like Mario. If Mario and stuff could sell consoles, I think the Wii U would have sold better. I don't think it has anything to do with the specs. I think it has to do with the games and that at least outside Japan, because the Wii U actually does sell really well in Japan, but outside Japan, some people want to play their Call of Duty. And some families will not buy multiple consoles, no matter how much you can say Nintendo's the second alternative. There's a lot less people that are willing to buy a second alternative than you think.
We had the same conversation with VR because I was saying that you have a limited funds, and as the economy, at least in the States, isn't so good, you can either say, "Hey, I have a system like an Xbox or a PlayStation, and there's so many good games. I can buy these 4 games that I'm really looking forward to, or I can go and buy Nintendo's console. Then I'm gonna buy, a couple of their games. Like it's a cost benefit, and with limited resources, limited money, and limited
Income,
time,
exactly.
like
That's
I don't
that's
know.
why
I don't think the
Mario can
economy
be
is going to be able to do it.
as much as popular as Mario is, as popular as Pokemon is. You gotta have everything. You've got to show people support for your system, not just with first party, but third party. Yes, it doesn't matter if you can also get it on Xbox or PlayStation. It's more about what offers more of what I want for what. And you see that back with Super Nintendo. What was the number one selling system worldwide? The Super Nintendo, because it had the support. Yeah, Genesis had a lot of great games, but again,
but it also
Nintendo had the more support.
3 of like the greatest games of all time on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't
And
matter
also
how
say
good
the Nintendo Wii is the most successful Nintendo console ever.
But
and
you also gotta realize how many people bought a Nintendo Wii and actually continue to play it. It's been a proven fact that a lot of people who bought the Nintendo Wii got their fill with Wii Sports, maybe another game or two. Then they just let it sit there and collect dust. Most people did not enjoy that
Nintendo
thing.
console
Like
does
honestly,
play
Wii
every
Sports
day.
got a lot of mileage in my house. It was fun.
I got
But it's just an example. We're gamers, so we can't see this from a non-gamer perspective. We're the type of people who see it as, well, you can just buy the second alternative if you want the games that much. But we're coming probably from the perspective of we're gamers. We buy this stuff. We like to play it. We know what we like, and we can just get 2 systems. We're not thinking about limited funds people or people who just refuse, even though they have the funds, they just will refuse to buy it because they don't see the games they want. Even though I want Mario, but I see more games here. So I'm not going to buy it despite I could.
Hey, Chris, according to the latest rumor, the Nintendo NX is going to utilize motion controls. How do you feel about that?
Oh, if you use motion controls, I'm out. I'm not even supporting that thing.
What do you think, Chris?
Motion controls.
Speaking to the mic.
Motion controls can suck it.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Can I ask
I like
a dumb
them too.
question? I've had a Wii U for over a year now, and I never use motion controls on it.
Oh yeah, if it's like
I
the
think it's important to
Wii
just have
where they force you to use the motion controls like the Zelda of Wind Waker.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I'll
You
never
just spin the controller around and then it wouldn't always work. And then
if it's like a second option, whatever. I will never use it.
Exactly. That's what Microsoft had to realize with the Xbox One. The motion controls on Kinect 2 still didn't work the way they were supposed to, and that's why Xbox is home to the worst Xbox game ever released in the history of Xbox on Xbox One. That game's literally unplayable, unfunctional.
Which game?
Fire Within. That game's nearly unplayable.
Never heard of it.
It was a launch title.
Nintendo, right? It's different because their thing's backwards compatible. Like all the devices work on. Like people forget that the Wii U, all the Wiimotes, everything works on your Wii U as well.
Nobody
But just make the
cares.
same
People
things work.
don't want motion control.
But they've
You
already
know
got it
what?
already, so
If
they might as well
the-
just put the feature
If
in.
the
you see?
Nintendo NX is backwards compatible with everything, like I'm talking about everything.
And if they want to do virtual console and
Yeah,
things
this
like
would-
that, they need the motion control, like at least the feature in there to play those old games at least.
If they want people to embrace their system and downloads, they need to have a larger hard drive, and they need to have a central account system where your purchases can be transferred to another system.
It is
Because
a
Isn't
nightmare.
it? It's like that now, isn't it? Isn't it?
No, it's not.
But, no,
At
it's
least
not. But see, now, hang on. We also have to remember that idea is still new.
As far
it's been
I don't
around
know. I
since
don't know if it's
PS3,
new.
Xbox One.
Yeah, so technically,
That's
it's only
awesome.
it hasn't even been around a full console generation. So that idea is still new.
But
that
they
just
released the
happened.
3DS when there was already PS3 who had a freaking.
And I can understand. Okay, I can understand
I
with
mean,
the Wii.
and
That makes sense.
you want to talk about that? Look at Sony. You can't change your PSN name. You want to talk about backwards?
You hate Yoshida.
Yeah, let's get back to the real point that you can't
but
change
at least
your
they
system.
have. At least they have the important part where you have all of your digital downloads. Like I don't have
Transferable to another system.
I
But
don't
with the
have to
Wii, your
transfer
Wii
to
breaks. Your
My
Wii
point
breaks,
is-
you lose everything.
Yeah, but see, my point is that infrastructure is still a new thing because it just happened. From PS2 to PS3,
I feel like
that
they've
didn't
had
happen.
enough time to
From
really get on
Xbox
the
to
ball.
Xbox 3.
They've had enough time to see what the other system's
I
doing.
think so too. I
Sometimes
think they've had
But
enough time.
here's the
It
thing.
is new, I
They
can
have-
say that, but I still think they
You
should
to
have it by
remember-
now.
You have to remember, the Wii U was the first quote-unquote next-gen console released. It was released.
that's why the Wii I can forgive, but Wii U no, and 3DS at this point no.
And Wii U's a little weird. I feel like it's just it's
now-
kind of stuck in the middle now.
That
The
controller's
NX
ridiculous. Can I just say that? The Wii U
Yeah.
controller.
You don't use it a lot, though,
If
do you?
Nintendo were to continue that quote unquote bull, yeah, that would be egregious. But I don't think we can say, oh, well, it's all down to that because Nintendo doesn't do that. They suck. That's kind
Well,
of
and they need to get over their online and some of their onlines. I understand they want to try to be the kiddie console, but some people they need to get away from the image. I hate to say that because gaming is no longer thought as a kid's thing anymore. Otherwise, why would
Kids it
be?
is.
do it. You have to acknowledge that. And I'll tell you,
Nintendo doesn't acknowledge that. I'm sorry, but they need to make their
yeah,
own.
they do. I would play Splatoon online any day of the week before I would play Call of Duty online because you know what? If I lose, it's just me there. I don't have
But where's
to
my
deal with
voice chat?
I don't have to deal with
need it.
someone wanting to insert whatever part of their body into my mother. I don't have to
Well, you
worry
know-
about them calling me racial epithets that are completely inaccurate. I don't have to worry about, and especially if it's an
Sounds
11-year-old doing that. It just
Well, a
feels
lot more people care about that kind of stuff than you think. Otherwise, again,
But
why
a lot
would
of parents
I'm
don't want their
not
children to be
disagreeing with
subjected
you.
to
I'm
things
not
like that as
disagreeing
well.
with you, but you know what? I would rather get rid of all of that crap than deal with the good things at times.
Well,
'Cause
let me ask you this. A simple question about that is there's no workaround where you can't even have it as a feature period as opposed to have it unlockable by some type of parental controls. That idea has been around for forever, the idea of quote unquote parental controls. Like
and it doesn't work.
you unlock it. Well, I know it doesn't work, but maybe they could invest their time, energy, and thought into saying, how do we make it work on a console where we know that adults can unlock this important feature and you can leave it locked up for, the kids who don't want to hear, obscene everything on their chat. I don't know. It's just
Maybe
an
this
idea.
is exactly what Nintendo is working on right now.
Maybe.
NX, that would be
I mean,
great.
maybe
Buy the Nintendo NX, available
It doesn't-
2016 holiday
No matter-
year, $19.99.
No
It
matter
would be
how
great.
you look at it, kids are not the dominant market for video games as
Well,
much
no,
as it
because
seems.
because kids don't have disposable income.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
what's a family going to buy?
All their income is kind of disposable, but they don't have enough.
All right.
You've got to try to appeal to the parents. You've got to try to appeal to the masses and features. And sometimes the features will matter to some consumers. And you know what? They see less features. They're not going to buy it. Central account system. Just enable voice chat. You know what? You don't want to hear it, then mute people. I hate to say it, but I'm in the market of what's going to help sell more. Try to get those third parties back. Get those sports titles back. Get your Call of Duty. You hate Call of Duty? Well, you know what? It sells. It helps sell systems.
All the Wii U needed was an app store. That's all they needed.
Yeah,
That's all they needed.
Well, I don't know if Nintendo should be, like Matt said, I don't know if it should be trying to. Do they want to be the same thing in the same category as Xbox and PS4, or do they want to be in their own special
Well, let's put
category?
it this way.
I think you're right, Brian. Everyone's second choice.
Either or.
But let's put it. I don't think the second choice thing is going to matter because there's a lot of people who are so burnt out with what Nintendo is doing that I honestly think if they don't try to up the other consoles, the NX is gonna sell even worse because I have.
Well, here's something that I was thinking about the NX that could make it last for the next console generation and maybe a little bit into or throughout this console generation and throughout the next console generation a little bit. If the NX is capable of VR support too, I think that would be massive as well. I
was thinking about that.
Just have some fresh ideas.
Know.
I
don't know if
that
that
depends what games. I don't know. Like their IP, for some reason, to me, doesn't shout out VR.
In all honesty, I don't think VR is ever gonna take over heavily unless you have a repeat of the Nintendo Wii, where you buy a console and it's the only way you can do it. Like for example, PS Move and Kinect probably would have taken off better if it was the single only way to use to play the games with. That's why the Wii motion control took off. But did people enjoy it? No. But it was successful because you had absolutely almost no other option for the most part.
We were talking about them competing. They keep talking about mobile. It's going to have something to do with mobile. It may even get split into, two. But the latest rumors again say 60 frames per second, 900p resolution. So it's kind of like mixed messages right now. Nobody knows. It's a big question mark, and I'm kind of happy about that.
Yeah,
I'd rather them come out of left field and surprise me than it be like, okay, here comes this again. Nobody can say for sure, and for all we know, they could win the whole console war with this next, system for the next 30 years.
Honestly,
they won't because of
weird.
Here, Pokemon MMO, okay? Pokemon MMO, completely backwards compatible. Like with everything, we're talking about you can play your 3DS
that's an
on
instant
here.
system seller.
And
they're doing that thing anyway, don't it, on the iOS?
Improved online with voice chat, with a revamped store. I'm talking about tear that whole damn thing down. A completely new way to buy games, easier.
Achievement system.
And achievement system. Bam, you got a console seller. And a price point.
They also need to get the third parties back. They need to get the third party back. They need to get their sports titles. They need to get their Call of Duty.
It has to come with a Mario game too.
Why though? Why?
Yeah.
Why do they need that?
I get what you're saying, man. I don't think they necessarily need it
I'm
either.
happy as
I think Call of Duty is
could.
important. I do think that.
You may not like it, but I see it as important to sell systems. And
it does sell systems.
It would make you play the system consistently if you had something like Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly. If people aren't gonna, it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter how much they like it. If they can't see a consistent use out of it, some people are just going to sell it and not even care. Some people want consistent use. Otherwise, it's a dust collector. And some people will sell it. Others will just keep it as a dust collector. They won't support this.
It's really difficult for Nintendo. They have to take away all those gamers from Xbox and PS3, PlayStation. I don't think they know they can't do that.
They can't.
So they can't do that. It's so impossible.
I don't think they can either.
People are going to give up
they
their
need to
achievements
settle
and
with
trophies.
being number
to
two.
move to
Yeah,
a brand
it's
new
just, now that achievements
they
and
know
trophies
where
have
they stand.
passed from system to system, people are embedded in ecosystems now.
Not as many people care about them as you think. Trust me.
No, I'm not saying that, but that's gonna be if you can, I like my trophies. I like the fact that they're there, and that's probably why I'll continue to play Sony platforms. I'll eventually Xbox One to play the games that I can't play on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But let's just say all of a sudden, Nintendo's next system is getting all the games I want, but it's still going to be a hard thing for me to just say, okay, I'm done with all of my trophies and achievements.
See, it might be hard for you, but the only reason I argue with that point is because you got to look at the transition to this generation. A lot of people did quit playing on the Xbox, despite that they had a huge achievement list. a lot of the achievement people just quit because it was more about the games for them than the achievement. So even if they care about them,
they quit because of the messaging.
Yeah, this
And
is bad PR, man.
That messaging was so poisonous.
That was the worst launch.
Well, I understand it was all the
that you could
messaging and the
have.
mix, but if
they
it came down to
Always online, stupid price
They
point,
spent a
everything.
year trying to backpedal from that, and it still could not say. It still didn't get anybody back.
I mean,
They spent a solid year trying to
in damage control. Yeah.
But if it came down to their achievements and trophies, then a lot of people would have stuck with Xbox regardless. So,
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that the PlayStation's games platform is better. I don't think that's it at all. I think the biggest thing, two things, is the PS4 was cheaper. Huge thing.
Yep.
Like, that's maybe the most important part of it. And also that the Xbox launch was a complete disaster. Like, that was the worst E3 or reveal that you could have possibly had.
Yeah.
Where you said TV like 3,000 times in your press conference and mentioned games as like a side point.
You know,
I never understood that. Like, why the do you want to advertise TV where TV is practically dead now?
I mean, we
Everybody's
know how to
watching-
work the cable box, Microsoft.
Yeah,
We
but
figured it
it's
out.
like
okay.
nobody uses TV anymore. Everybody's like on Hulu and Netflix now.
they're trying to market it as a TiVo box or something.
I use I have a cable box connected to the Xbox, and I use it entirely just for watching sports. And
Well, and then they also had people saying, "What about our 360 games?" And then that guy said, "You know what backwards compatibility is? Backwards." That was the CEO of the company.
yeah. And then he
Yeah,
said,
well-
"Go buy the 360 if you want to play the other game." Like,
Yeah, he actually
And
got
then
fired.
he's back.
that is the worst thing you can say.
He said, well, you have a system like Xbox 360. If you want to play offline, you want to play your games offline. Oh my God!
and that's why
He got
he's not in
fired for
charge
that.
anymore.
Yeah,
Like the
that's why he
boat,
got fired.
the boat has
Those
turned
men-
around
those
on the
men-
Xbox. I don't know what
Yo,
you're
did you see?
just saying.
He had it. He had like what do you say? Temper, whatever
temper
you call it.
tantrum.
Temper tantrum on Twitter where he
No,
was
that was
like,
Adam Warren. That wasn't Don Patrick. That was Adam Warren.
But for me
Oh, okay,
personally,
okay.
though,
I'm, like,
I would
shitting
never
on
buy
everybody.
Xbox again.
It's because of the red ring.
No, it's not the red ring at all. But why primarily is I don't with Xbox, and I'm gonna point this from even the same way. Why a lot of Japanese won't approach the Xbox. On top of this, is it's centered around primarily American heavy action. It doesn't have enough variety because some like me. I don't want to sit here and just play Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, American Heavy Action. Sometimes I might want to dive into an RPG, and not just a westernized RPG. Sometimes I want a taste of the Japanese RPG. Sometimes I want a taste of a different style of game. When it primarily feels Microsoft's marketing is towards the same style of game constantly, majority of them.
They had a legitimate. There's a big interview about this. If you listen to I think it was Unlocked, but
I mean, they tried.
they tried, but they quit. I mean, why would they keep trying and go for these, Japanese games if they're not going to buy them? It's over. So, Sony won. Sony is Japan, and that's where you're going to get your fix for stuff like that.
but they are
That's
still
why I
trying with
won't buy
Scalebound.
Xbox ever again.
What'd you say, Chris?
They are still trying with Scalebound.
And
Yeah,
I
they do
hope
have Scalebound.
Scalebound is good. Like Chris, you got me pumped for it because you talked me into it, like what it could be. So
Yeah.
it looked like a little Monster Hunter-y, like at the end when you found out you could team up with
It's
people,
co-op. Yeah, it's good.
which I thought
Yeah,
was like
I'm
Monster Hunter
really
big, like
excited for
again, like with the dragons. Yeah,
The,
that's all.
the idea is amazing, but if they just fix their mechanics, I think it will be really, really good game.
Gerald,
But
let me.
there's,
We gotta end the show, but I want to thank you for being on, and for sharing with us all about these systems and the games and all your knowledge that you're bringing from, your your huge log of what you've collected so far. And we just thank you for being on, and we'd love to have you on again. I didn't even ask you what your favorite game was of all time.
Legend of Zelda.
Um,
The first one ever.
Matt's like, yeah, totally redeemed yourself.
The first one on the original Nintendo. Not Ocarina of Time. That's not my favorite Zelda. It's the first three are my favorite of all time.
wow,
Yeah, because the first three are the best.
classic. All right, Jill. Thank you very much for being with us. I want to thank everyone for listening to the Platinum Achievement Podcast. If you have not subscribed to us on iTunes, please do that. We also are available on YouTube, where we're going to have some of Gerald's game collection photos and video. So we're going to try to feature them there. I want to thank everybody who has joined the Facebook group. Just search the Platinum Achievement Podcast. We have a page and a group, so just go ahead and join both. We're trying to see which one develops organically the most. But thank you, everybody, for listening. If you want to be on the show, if you have something to feature, whether it be music you want to submit from like a band or a project that you do, if you are a collector or anything game-related or geek-related, you let us know, and we'll go ahead and happily plug you or have you on as a guest. So shout out to everybody who listens, and thank you very much. This show is for you, and we want you to email us at podcastpa.email@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us. So we really appreciate it.
Also,
Europeans,
like
help
us
me
all on
with my
Twitter,
game collection,
play games with us
please.
on Xbox, PS4, follow us everywhere, all that.
I
good
need a
stuff.
lot of Europeans to help me with my game collection. Stupid things.
Jurgen,
Yeah,
you
don't
gotta
worry,
get
I'm
in
in
touch.
Europe, so-
Jurgen, we gotta get in touch with. with
and I
Gerald.
need someone from South Africa too.
South Africa. I know
If you're-
someone from South Africa.
Because there's a SingStar game exclusive to South Africa, and I need it for my PS3 collection.
Help Gerald
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Please, Europeans.
All our South African fans.
Stupid.
Call
stupid.
one of you if you happen to exist.
No, there is one.
Please
There's one.
let Gerald know.
Hey, we could be blowing up in South Africa. We don't know. We don't track the
South Africa or
We
somebody
could run
or
them over.
Europeans. Because I need
Yeah, don't-
SingStar help with SingStar games.
Jurgen's in Holland. He'll help us. Please.
Holland, yes. I would love to come on again. You
All
just message me anytime, and I'll come right back on and talk more about my bizarre game collection.
Brian, why don't you go
Finland-
ahead and help us out today?
Finland,
Wait.
Italy.
Why- This is Matt's job.
Oh yeah, Matt hasn't joined us in a while. Go
Finland,
ahead,
Italy.
Matt.
Gerald, thank you for the lesson in your console collection. Banana and out.
I fly like
Good
paper,
enough,
get
that's
high
it.
like planes.
Boom.
Catch me at the border, the VC's in my name.
Shakalaka.
Mom, to the
Not if you're Chris.